This is an alpha awareness tape prepared by Viral Minto for the month of August 1975, known as tape number 3. This message is one of a series available one each month from Alpha Awareness Tape Distribution Center, Box 8238, Spokane, Washington, 99203. All tapes in this series are prepared and edited by Viral Minto. The tapes will be only available on the first of the month specified. Each tape will be on a specific subject. The idea is to take each tape, work with it a full 30 days, 10 days, 2 months, until it becomes a natural part or a personal part of your life. The subject will further your alpha awareness training. However, they're designed so a newcomer can receive the same benefits. The benefits from all the tapes are the same. Simply seeking an aha. What is an aha? Let's take a few moments now to explore this. So important. An aha is enlightenment. An aha is an experience. Definition. Knowledge comes from the outside and enters in. And we can put tons of knowledge in the brain-mind functioning that we'll never use. In fact, sometimes I think we become smart dumb. So much information in there we're not turning into experience as we travel through this journey of life. So knowledge comes from the outside and enters in, and in the 10 billion brain cells you can put a lot of knowledge in there. Knowledge can cause enlightenment. But enlightenment comes from an experience. When you've actually experienced something on this physical trip Earth, you stand back and say, what? Aha. That experience is yours. You own it now. It is part of you. So in seeking these ahas, as we go through this tape series and any other part of your life, simply remember, we seek and seek that enlightenment, and when it happens, it usually happens in a split second. That's from the experience, and the result is aha. If you have any area of your life that you're not sure what other people think about it, you haven't totally experienced in that area as of yet. For example, let's say I could levitate a body and make it float 15 feet in the air. I'm sure as you looked at that body floating up there, and by the way, I can't levitate, but if I could, you would look for the wires or the props. You levitate and I'll look for the wires or props that you're using. But if I levitate that body and I know there's no props, I know there's no wires, I stand back and say what? Aha. I've experienced that, and I don't care what you think from that moment on. You see, my experience caused enlightenment. Any place in your life that you're totally concerned of what other people think, you have not experienced total enlightenment in that area as of yet. So we simply will seek the ahas. Let's make it that simple. The tapes in this series will contain some theory. However, all have been designed to be used with the meditation exercise, which is tape number 1 of this series. For best results, you listen to the material each day, every other day. Make it your own goal of how much time you want to spend, but you must spend some time with them. Listening to the theory. Understand it will do you absolutely no good. It will produce no results in your life unless this knowledge is then inserted into everyday's routine and personal activities. Remember, you can have all the knowledge in the world until you use it. It will do you absolutely no good. These tapes are designed for that knowledge, and then a technique that you may apply while at work, while golfing, while fishing, while hunting, while washing dishes, while traveling in your car, while bossing the activities of a large corporation. Insert these into your daily routine, and with that application, you will find the desired results, the ahas that we're seeking. Now once more, let's just simply take a deep breath, lean back and relax. And let's explore some more information that can cause enlightenment, a very important aspect of brain-mind functioning before we talk about the rewards of life that we are seeking. To be able to experience more ahas in life, then we must be aware of the genius capability all of us have. All of us have a genius capability that many have not been aware of throughout all the days of their life. We are all a genius at mind wandering. We are all professional mind wanderers. You see, we got early training in this. Become totally aware now, mentally digest what I am saying. We are the professional mind wanderers. As a child in the first or second or third grade of grammar school, you had the arithmetic book upside down on the desk. You were letting your mind wander out to the front schoolyard with fox and goose ring or kick the can when you were supposed to be learning 2 and 2 is 4. You started the training right there. A little later, you got into high school, and you had the algebra book upside down on the desk, and you're thinking of the senior prom and the best girl or boyfriend, letting your mind wander outside of the learning situation. Then there's another great training ground. You get married, as I did, and the wife and I have the 5 children. We can turn those children off any time we want and let our mind wander. Haven't you heard the little girl or the little boy say, "Mother, mother, mother"? Not a sound from mother. She has turned them off and letting her mind wander someplace else. If the child wants attention, she then says, "Barbara," and the mother's name mentioned will bring her to the child immediately. Then we go on to another training ground, and I think perhaps the greatest training ground of all. This is church on Sunday. All of us go to church on Sunday, and I believe it's a great, great training ground. You go there to hear the message, and as you walk out the door, you say to the ministers, you shake the hand, "Boy, that was a great fishing, whoops." And you realize that you've let your mind wander out to the favorite fishing hole. You haven't been with the message you came to hear in any degree. So become totally aware. As you're listening to this tape right now, be aware of how your mind is wandering, how it is going places, because it's leaving the room. You're hearing every word I am saying. But in addition to that, you're letting your mind wander. So what is mind wandering? Is it good? Is it bad? Let's discuss this. Let's explore this for a few moments. How many people talk to yourself? In fact, we might ask, how many of you people talk to yourself a whole lot? And most of the hands will go up. And then we say, how many of you people talk to yourself out loud? We might say here, if there's any problem, then you're the people that have it. No, that's not true. You see, we all talk to ourselves because we just think. And as we're thinking, we're talking to no one else in the universe except ourselves. So what is mind wandering? What is self-talk? Self-talk goes on perhaps 24 hours a day. We know that we talk to ourselves in thought all during the waking hours, in dream sleep, and perhaps even in deep sleep. So what is this mind wandering? What is this self-talk, and how do we control it? You see, I'm speaking to you now at approximately 75 words a minute. Your mind is wandering 4 to 5 times that fast. It has that capacity. You are self-talking to yourself 4 to 5 times as fast as I am speaking to you. And realize what you self-talk in. Many people think you talk in words. This is not true. You talk in colored images as you think to yourself. All of you right now think of 12 white eggs in a carton at your favorite supermarket. What color is the carton? You see immediately, depending where you shop, you came up with a color. Or think right now of a boat on a beautiful mountain lake. It's a sailboat. What color is the sky? What color is your boat? What color is the sails? What color are the trees? Recognize that we think in colored images, and this goes on so fast that sometimes we don't even know what we think about. So if you wish to receive the most from this learning situation, from this tape, or any learning situation that you have in life, then we must train our mind. We must become aware of this self-talk. As an example, let's say I'm a train on a track going down the track at 100 miles an hour with my speech, and I'm speaking to you at about 75 to 80 words a minute. Your brain-mind functioning, your thought processes are going 400 miles an hour. So as a train on the track at 100, you're a jet overhead racing along at 400 miles an hour. Now, if you want to stay with me, if you want to get the most out of this learning situation, and any learning situation in the future, if you want to make your days 40 hours long in a beautiful, delicious way, then we must learn to control our self-talk. Now, how do you stay with me if you're racing along at 400 miles an hour? Now, usually the first suggestion is that, Burl, you speed up to 450 words a minute. That's impossible. There is no way to speak that fast to you, to take all your brain-mind functioning power. Some other people say for the individual listening to or reading the book to slow down. That's impossible. If I shut up now and I do not occupy that little bit of space of your mind, you will actually speed up. Sometimes as I'm talking to people, I wonder what they're thinking about, because I know the mind is racing on. So open a real awareness to this. What we need is a concept, if you're the jet overhead, to circle with me. to circle overhead the train and never lose contact. Let your mind wander as far as it wants, as long as you keep it on the subject. Keep it tied to me just as an airplane coming into an airport would be tied to the controller. It doesn't matter if you go back to 3 years old. It doesn't matter if your mind fleets over to Australia, to Timbuktu. It doesn't matter where it goes as long as it's on the same material. And when you grasp this, when you mentally digest this, when you work with this until you understand it, then you will find that for every hour you spend reading a book, for every hour you spend listening to a lecture, for every hour you spend in business, if you circle with what you are doing, learn to self-talk about what you're doing, control your thoughts to that area, you will find for every physical hour that you put in, the result will be 3 to 4 hours of understanding. You see, have you ever read a good book and read over an extra 10 pages and all of a sudden realized that you don't even know what you've read and you had to go back and reread those 10 pages? Why did that happen? Simply because mind wandering. You let your mind wander off into fishing or going to Paris, France, and that wasn't the subject of the book to any degree. If you learn to self-talk about what you're reading, you not only will read the written word that's in the book, but you'll be aware of all the author cut out when they had the book printed. And if you've ever written a book, you'll know that the biggest job is to edit out the extra material. So you will get all of the feeling of that author, all of the feeling of the book, and you will spend 3 hours in understanding for every 1 hour physical that you put in. Learn to self-talk about what you're doing. Learn to circle, and we will refer from now on very readily to the word circle with me, folks, meaning keeping your mind wandering on the subject. This is not too difficult. Any time now, through the next half hour, as you're listening to this tape, you find your mind on a totally foreign subject. Now remember, it can go any place, it can do anything it wants, as long as it's attached to the specific material that we're talking about. So as you find your mind wandering out somewhere, just simply bring it back to the subject material. It only takes a few hours of awareness, of training in this area, until you can make every hour of your day worth 3 to 4 hours in mental learning and understanding. I'd like each one of us now just to lean back, take a deep breath, and I will pause for approximately 1 minute and be aware now of your mind wandering. Be aware of where it's going, what it's doing. And each time it goes to a foreign subject, bring it back to the ahas in life. Bring it back to the material we've already discussed. So 1 minute now of just quiet as you check on your mind wandering, this genius ability that you can put to work. This ability that is concentration. Many people think concentration is tightening up and saying and repeating every word that the lecture says or reading out loud every word in the book. It's the opposite, folks. Sit back and relax and let your mind wander. Let it give you 3 hours of understanding for every 1 hour of physical that you put into the subject. Take a deep breath, exhale slowly now, and just check on your mind wandering. Let it wander and see how fast and where it goes. Now becoming totally aware of this mind wandering, remember, mentally digest, mull it over in your mind till you understand it. If you're a boss of an organization and you can convince all of the people to self-talk, to wander with the subject of what they're doing for you and with you, they won't just give you 8 hours of physical. They will give you 8 hours, plus they'll give you another 24 hours of understanding of the product, of new inventions, of new ideas. When we learn to self-talk, If you're a student in college, when you learn to self-talk about the lecture that the professor's giving, you will go out with 4 hours of understanding, 4 hours of meaning, 4 hours of education. If you go on to church on Sunday, self-talk, and you'll go out with 4 hours of understanding. This will put in the mental dimension many, many more hours within your life. So circle with me now, folks. Lean back and relax, and let us explore a concept, when understood, has changed the lives overnight, sometimes, of many, many people. This is the rewards that we have in our life, the rewards that we take and use each day. What do we accept as a reward in our life? What are rewards? Let's pause right now and take a moment to give you a little circling time to see what your definition of a reward is. Circle now with the word reward. What are your rewards in life? Think about it for just a moment as I pause once more. Okay, your definition of a reward in life is what? Most people say a reward is something good, it is something nice, it is something beautiful. We have heard all through our life, we've read it many times, that your rewards in life are in direct proportion to the services rendered. Let me repeat that once more. Your rewards in life are in direct proportion to the services rendered. Now, I would like to add one more thing to that statement and add plus tenfold. Your rewards in life are in direct proportion to the services rendered, plus a tenfold increase. You see, as we have studied and watched nature, we see that the universe, at least this part of the universe, operates on a tenfold return. If you don't believe this, just simply plant one kernel of wheat, let it grow all year, let it mature, and then harvest this and count how many seeds of wheat was the fold return from one kernel of wheat. You'll find it's about 250 to 1. Plant one kernel of corn and find about 1,000 to 1 return. If you really want to see the tenfold return or tenfold plus return, plant a marigold seed all year long. When the plant goes to seed, each blossom, clip it off and put it in a plastic bag. And at Christmas time, sit down, separate all of the seeds and count them. And you will find that the tenfold increase is not only tenfold, it's probably 20,000 to 1. In fact, you might even think of an elm tree, which grows to be 200 years old. What is the fold increase? So nature shows us that any service, anything we do in life, has a reward in direct proportion to the services rendered, plus at least a tenfold increase. So let's look at this in another way for just a moment. We have heard the old law and the statement, give and you shall receive. Give and you shall receive. The simple misunderstanding of this statement by myself for many, many years has caused me, and I'm sure many other people, to correct their rewards in perhaps what we might deem in our life as a negative area. You see, it says give and you shall receive. It doesn't say give what you shall receive. It doesn't mean because you give good, you're going to get good in return. It doesn't really mean if you give bad that you're going to get bad in return. Mentally digest, open up our awareness, circle with me now. The simple misunderstanding of this law has caused a person to give his life to a cause and receive death as a reward. It's caused a doctor to give his whole life to healing and die of an illness. It's caused a man or a woman to give their life to a marriage and children and end in a divorce. Give and you shall receive. You have the right to pick rewards in life that you wish to take from any service that you give. At this point, talking with people, they will say, that sounds good. You know, I'm going to start using that. People, you're not going to start using it. It's been the law of this part of the universe. You have been using it since birth. Most of us have just not become aware of how and what we are receiving as our rewards in life. We have a choice to pick the rewards that we wish the rewards we want, God granted us that freedom to each individual. You see, He granted you the right to be who you are and who you are not. That's total freedom, and that's total love. He granted you the right to pick any reward in life that you desire. Now understand that a reward in this theory is simply something that happens from a service you have done. And that service can be anything, folks. It can be absolutely anything. As an example, if you're out playing golf on Sunday afternoon on the golf course, let's just think of that as a service. What are your rewards from playing golf? Number one, the businessman might say, okay, I am relaxed. That certainly is a reward from playing golf. I meet a new friend. That's a reward from playing golf. Let's take a specific example now and play with it for just a moment to see if we can open our awareness. Now remember, this technique will do us absolutely no good until we understand the theory of it. Then we go one step further and put it into physical application, and I will discuss just a little later how to make that physical application work for each and every one of us. Let's take an ordinary situation, a man working each day of his life, and let's say he works now for $50 a day. So let's take a piece of paper in imagination and put down service rendered 1 day's work. We list it there. Now out to the side we write down all of the rewards, all of the things that happen because we're working at that plant or for that man or in that business. So we put down 1 day's work as a service. We go over and put down rewards, many columns of rewards. Now for the next 5 minutes I'm going to use a bunch of negative words in my language, and this is good. Remember, each time you hear that negative, cancel it out and put the proper word in. But you see, many people go through life using the negative word, so let's not shy from it. Let's use it now, and then let's use the proper application of canceling this word out and putting the proper word in. So the service this day is 1 day's work, and let's say the first reward is $50. Let's say we get $50 a day in cash reward. Now everything in life has at least a tenfold return or a tenfold reward, so that we can understand this. Let's keep it in the money category. You do not have to receive all your rewards in money, as we will explain as we go through the technique in just a moment. But let's say a tenfold reward. If it's a $50 day work, then 10 times 50 makes it $500. So every day we work, by the law of the universe, we are going to receive $500 in rewards. Now, how do you collect that? You're only getting $50 a day in cash. All right, let's say that this gentleman is a person who does not like his job. In fact, he hates the boss. Cancel, cancel, loves. And from this moment on, you do the canceling. All right, this means that when he gets out of bed, he just hates to get out of bed. So you see, hate is a reward. The only reason he hates to get out of bed, the only reason he hates to go to work is because he hates the job. Therefore, he is collecting, let's say, maybe $50 worth of hate juice as he gets out of bed. As he drives to work, the traffic always irritates him. So as he drives to work, he collects another $50 worth of irritation. Now, he's choosing to do this. Then when he gets to work, he knows the boss is going to come in and chew him out. And surely at 10 o'clock he walks in and says, Fred, you didn't get the job done yesterday. You're a poor employee, etc., etc. You immediately get up after the boss leaves and go to the bathroom, and now you buy some self-pity. You see, self-pity can be a reward. And there's a lot of self-pity around, so you can buy a lot of that. Let's say you take $100 worth of self-pity. Now you've already spent $200. Now you have coffee break, and your friend Frank comes in and sits down and says, how's the day going? It's terrible. What are you buying? You're buying $50 worth of terrible. Now he sympathizes with you for a little bit, and as a result of this sympathy, you buy a little self-pity. You go back to the job, feeling sorry for yourself, and for the next hour you buy another $50 worth of feeling sorry. That afternoon you go home and you know the traffic's going to be a mess and you just hate that traffic, so you buy another $100 worth of nasty traffic. As you walk in the door, the wife says, how was the day? It was a terrible day. What are you buying? What are the rewards for this day's work? I'm so tired I don't know if I can make it even to the bedroom. I suppose I won't sleep tonight. So you're buying the tiredness. Now, if we would add up all of the buying, we can find we had $50 for hating to get out of bed and $50 for traffic in the morning. That's $100. The boss chews us out. We buy $100 worth of that. We've got $200 spent now. At the coffee break, we bought $50 worth of sympathy, so we have $250. And then the traffic in the night, we bought $100 worth of that. That's $350. The wife's praise that evening and our sympathy, we bought $100. That's $450. And we bought tiredness of $550. So you see, we end up $50 in debt that evening. You see, you can go in debt. You never will receive a raise if you want to take all of your rewards in these negative areas. You're overspent. You can go in debt. You can actually go in debt. You see, we take another man who likes his boss, likes his work, likes his day, and let's go through the same routine and see if we can understand it that way. He gets out of bed in the morning saying, "Good morning, God. Good morning, God. Good morning, God. It's going to be a great day." He likes to go to work. Once he gets to work, the traffic didn't bother him. He put a cassette on. He chose the reward of listening to a dynamic cassette or listening to music on the radio that turned him on. He chose that reward. So the traffic didn't bother him. It became a blessed reward, just a half-hour drive into work. He goes in and says hello to the boss. His mental attitude is good. All of the people at the office, mental attitude chirps up as he becomes the action person and says hello to everybody as he continues throughout the day. At the coffee break, several people gather because they like to talk to you. The traffic going home doesn't bother you. You again look around. Let's say that you want more cash abundance. Let's say you want to buy a new stove for your wife. Now, the man who hates the traffic will never see the sale sign that just went up on the building and said, "Hey, stoves for sale, half price." He could have made himself $250 if he'd been aware. The man at the traffic does not bother. He stopped at a stoplight. He looks out. They're just putting up the sign. He's been going to buy a new stove for his wife for the last 6 months. And as he looks out the window, there's a sign going up that says stoves at half price. You see, he even took more abundance, more awards that day in money, in cash, did he not? And he goes home and he takes a little praise from the wife, a little happiness there. He chooses just maybe a little bit of tiredness, but he balances his life by being aware that everything that happened that day is a reward from going to work. Now, I don't know what the solution is if you hate your boss and hate everybody around. There is two solutions. Number one is to change your mental attitude, which may be as much easier to do about the job and the boss. And if this can't be done, perhaps it's to get a new job. But we put ourselves in a position to collect the rewards in life that we wish to collect. Let's now talk a moment about what a reward really is. Praise is a reward. Sickness is a reward. I know many people that collect their rewards in life being sick. Health is a reward. Tiredness is a reward from a specific task. Relaxation is a reward. Sympathy, a martyr, is a reward. Criticism is a reward. Happiness is a reward. Depression is a reward. Friendship, gaining weight, poverty, money. All of these are things that can happen from a service you render. So let's take and maybe put this into a simplicity of, let's say, a man mowing a lawn. Let's say that we all agree to, on a volunteer basis, to go out and mow the lawn for a church, or for a 65-year-old lady, or for your neighbor next door while he goes to Hawaii. Now, how is each individual going to collect their reward? Some people will collect that whole reward in praise. And if you take it all in praise, there'll be no room for anything else. As an example of standing ovation, you see, out of the 4 billion or whatever there is people on the earth today, how many standing ovations happen each day? There's not too many of them, so that's a high-priced commodity. So each of your rewards has a different price tag on it. You see, if you were to buy gold with money, you would get very little gold for the dollar spent because there's not too much of it around, so it's a high-priced commodity. So that's like a standing ovation. I might use a personal experience, if I may. Some 6 years ago, as I've been working in Alpha Awareness, I would stand up and take a whole lot of my reward. In fact, I took all of my reward practically in ego, in praise. People would stand up and they would clap. I've even seen them stamp their feet and say, "Verl, that was fantastic." And as they walked out, they left no money. I got a little bit hungry over that. Now I pick and choose my rewards. And I want some ovation. I want some of that reward, but just a little bit. That's necessary to keep you going. But you see, I pick and choose as I'm teaching a class to take at least $50 in cash. I set my reward. I'm in control of it now. And if you want to take it all in ego, you'll be the greatest person in the world within your own brain-mind functioning. But you'll find it difficult to put a loaf of bread or a suit in the closet. I don't know if you want to put the loaf of bread in the closet, but if that would make you happy, go ahead and put that in there also. Sickness. Let's say the man mowing the lawn. One man gets out of bed bright and early in the morning, and he goes out and he mows it just at daylight. Now, this is a volunteer basis. The grass is a little wet, but he comes back to his wife, and how does he collect his reward? He says to the wife, "It was a fantastic day. I watched the sun come up this morning. In fact, I had the first 2 swaths on the lawn cut when the sun came up. I saw an eagle flying in the sky, and there was a cloud formation that was absolutely fantastic. You know, I feel great. I want some ham and eggs right now. I feel fantastic." You see, he begins to claim his reward from mowing that lawn in health and in happiness and a great day. Another man goes out and mows the same lawn. He comes in and sits down and says, "You know, the grass was wet. I got my feet wet. I don't feel good. I think I'm going to be sick." For doing the same job, he chose the reward of sickness. Another man goes out and mows the same lawn, and he comes in and he says, "You know, I had so much to do today, but I'm all tuckered out from mowing that lawn." He's beginning to claim his reward in tiredness, and unless he controls that reward, he will lay on his back all day because he volunteered to mow a lawn. Now, he can take just a little bit of tiredness, that's all right, and then get up and go out and pick some more beautiful rewards. Another man comes in and said, "You know, I mowed that lawn, and it relaxed every muscle in my body. It was better than jogging 3 miles. He chose relaxation. So you see, you can choose any combination of rewards. And you shouldn't just choose one. You should balance it out. We all need a little ego, a little pat on the back, but if you claim it all in ego, there'll be no room for cash. There'll be no room for any of the rest. It's legitimate to have a little tiredness. You ought to turn that into relaxation. You might make new friends. You see, you could pick that reward. Somebody walks by on the street and says, "Hey, how are you this morning?" "I'm great." It's a man you've never seen before. So you stop and talk with him just a few moments. He invites you to go fishing, and you enter the world of fishing now that you've never done before, simply because you mowed that lawn that morning. Learn to pick and choose your rewards. God granted you the right to pick any reward from any job you want. So learn to pick and choose. We ought to talk about one other reward that many people collect, and there's sure a lot of it around. There's a lot of it around, so you can sure buy a lot of it for a little bit of service, and that's a martyr. That's sympathy. You know, if you want something done well, if you want it done very well, and you don't want to pay any cash for it, pick out a martyr to do it. The person who feels sorry for themselves. As an example, if you really want the job done well, get a good martyr. Get a good martyr to do it. You see, they'll start collecting their rewards before you even get in town. For instance, if I'm coming to town and there's a good martyr here, you will hear them say, "You know, Verl's coming to town, and I know he's going to ask me to do something. For me, I never have time. He always loads something on me. I should tell him no, but I'll do it, I suppose, if he asks." I arrive in town, and the first thing I see is I say, "Hi, Martha. I've got a thing that I need typed. I need this work done. Can you give me a hand?" I knew you were going to ask me. See how she's collecting the rewards, or he, either one, collecting the rewards. And they've spent half of their reward before I even get to town. All while they're doing the job, they feel the sympathy, the self-pity for themselves, and when they come to me with a dynamic finished product, they hand it out to me, and I say, "How much do I owe you?" "Oh, nothing. No, I can't take a penny." Certainly they can't take a penny. They've been spending the rewards for that service long before I even got to town. So if you want a job done well, you want it done extremely well and good, give it to a good martyr. They will collect all of their rewards in self-pity, in fear, and in frustration, and when it comes time to take the cash payment, they will not be available to take it. You see, they have overspent. Now, we know that we can build a debt. You can overspend. You never will get a raise. You never will have an opportunity of more money if you're collecting your rewards in such great chunks in the negative side that there's no room left for the good things. But you also can build a credit, folks. You can build a credit. You see, I have, with the awareness of this law, I am now building a credit. Building a credit for a special destiny in life. I'm not quite sure what that destiny is, but it's going to be a great one. Because you see, I pick and choose only a little bit of tiredness. I pick and choose only that much standing ovation, that much ego that will keep me going and make me happy. I pick and choose knowledge and friends, those rewards, and in the amounts that I desire, so that at the end of the day I'm not overspent. And you can build a mental bank account. You see, if your tenfold return amounts to $500 for that day, and you only spend $200, then in your mental bank account you got $300 building a credit. A credit that you can use any time in your life, any time you wish. And I pick and choose to use that credit. May I give you another personal example? One of my teaching experiences that I simply had in February of this year. I was teaching a class in Merced, California. Now this is 70 miles from Angels Camp, my hometown, and my wife and I chose to drive down to this class each day. Now that 70-mile drive is one of the rewards of teaching that class. Now we must be very, very careful how we utilize that 70 miles. You see, after driving down the second night, I turned over to my wife and I said, you know, maybe we ought to just stay down. This drive is getting to me. I'm getting tired. All of a sudden I realized that I was picking a big chunk of tiredness because of a beautiful drive. And as I'm on the lecture tour throughout the year, I don't see my wife probably as many days as we would like to see each other. And so we reversed that reward right there. And I said, no, we're not going to pick any tiredness out of this. We're just going to pick an hour and a half of being together, to share and to care together. So you see how you turn a reward around? Now we got down to the class, and I pick and choose a cash reward. As I said earlier, $50 a student was the cash reward. But then I began to put down in my booklet what other rewards, what other things were happening, because I was teaching a class in Merced, California. Number one, the drive each night to and from was causing a little fatigue. We chose to turn that around and make it relaxation. One night driving home, it was a little foggy at that time of year in Northern California, and we got turned off on a wrong road. And out at about 10 miles, I realized that I was on a wrong road. I realized that it was going to take me maybe an extra hour and a half to get home that evening unless I turned around and went back. And I, by habit, almost began to pick the reward of fatigue. Then I turned to the wife and said, look, this will give us an hour and a half more to visit as we drive home tonight. On Wednesday, we took our motorhome down. And we stayed outside of the church, and at that time in California, it's green, it's clean, the grass is up about 8 inches. The trees are just beginning to sprout green. That's a reward, looking out the window in the morning. And on Wednesday morning, we put in a beautiful tape of the Nashville Brass on the stereo tape deck. And we opened the windows, and we were laying there talking to each other, and a mockingbird in the tree outside began to sing with the Nashville Brass. People, that mockingbird for 30 minutes sang with the Nashville Brass, and absolutely as if it was an instrument within the band. You see, I bought $1,000 worth of that. I can pick as much as I want as that reward. I'd never heard it before, but you see, that mockingbird sang for us at Merced, California, because I was teaching that class. And I chose to take a big piece of that reward. I took as a reward from that class many friends, many hours of awareness. But as we learn to pick and choose and to accept our rewards on a positive basis, we have the power to change our lives. Now, if you want this technique to work for you, if you want to understand this technique, if you want the aha to happen, then you must do something. listening to this tape several times if you desire, or just one time, then you must get yourself a tablet. You must get a notebook, and you must keep track of one of your services rendered. You must physically do it on a piece of paper. You see, this is a physical, mental, and spiritual world. The spiritual world is where the concept comes to you. Then we mentally take it on the second leg of a triangle, and we think it out. But the aha happens, the enlightenment happens, when you make it happen in the physical dimension. So if you will take a notebook and you will write down services rendered and keep track all day long of the rewards from that service, you will become totally aware of how you are accepting your rewards in life. You should do this for 10, 20, or 30 days. Physically do it with a pencil and a piece of paper. I suggest you get a big, long, yellow notebook so that you have lots of room, because you'll be totally amazed at the rewards that come from the simplest service that you give, the simplest service. And simply turn this the long way and write up there, service rendered. Now let's take the simple ones to start with. If it's a housewife, let's just simply take vacuuming the house. You see, that's a service, isn't it? And there's going to be a tenfold reward coming to you because you are vacuuming the house. So write down service rendered, vacuuming the house. Over here under the first reward, you might put cash, 0. Not getting any cash that you know of out of this. Then go over and put down another reward. How do you feel about vacuuming the house? Is it pleasant? Have you turned your mind to a pleasant thought as you run the vacuum over the floor? You can do two things at once. In fact, in one of the classes not too long ago, a lady said, you know, for the first time in my life, I took a bath and listened to a meditative tape. I did two things at once. Our mind has the ability to do 4 to 5 times as many things. So as you run the vacuum, choose a reward. Choose the reward of happiness, of planning your golfing outing, of planning something that brings a very positive habit to you. So take another simple one, any simple one. A man, as you go to work, keep track of everything that happens that day as a reward, and then put your own cash value on it, and don't let a poverty complex now get in the way of putting a good price on these things. Because the day that we can put a good monetary price on it, your mind will then allow you to put a monetary price on anything in life. Remember, it's just a formula to find out how we are accepting our rewards, so it doesn't really make any difference how much, except it will be tenfold. And if it's a scarce commodity, then you should put a little higher price on it. If it's a lot of it around, you don't need to spend much of your service time to buy a whole lot, for instance, of unhappiness. There's a lot of unhappiness around, and there's a lot of tiredness around. For just a little bit of service, 1 hour of mowing the lawn, you can lay in bed for 2 days if you've picked that reward, if that's the way you wish to spend it. So everything that we do is a service. That's everything. Now, mentally digest. Open up your awareness. Circle with me. Circle with me for a moment. Anything, you can pick the simplest things. If you're going to mail letters at the post office, put that down as a service. Because for the hour it takes you to go downtown and to come back, there's going to be many rewards. There could be meeting a friend, there could be meeting an enemy. There could be the traffic that's either good or it's bad to you. You see, each one of those, anything you do will end up in returning tenfold. And as we're aware of how we're collecting those, we can change them to anything we want. We can change tiredness into relaxation. We can change criticism into praise. We can change depression into happiness. You know, I know some people who collect their rewards by gaining weight. They go out to do a service, they come home so frustrated, they open the refrigerator door, have 2 quarts of milk, 3 pieces of chocolate pie, and then affirm to themselves, I'm going to gain 10 pounds. So if you wish to collect your reward in that frustration, in that way, then you have the freedom. God granted you the right to do it in any way you want. Now be totally aware of this. It's okay to collect in all areas. That makes a balanced life. You should have a little ego, a little relaxation, a little tiredness, a little sickness. But pick and choose how much. And begin to build yourself a credit. You see, understanding this concept, You can build that credit for anything you want in life. You can simply build the credit tomorrow. I'm not sure what my destiny is in life, but I do know that I'm building a credit now. Maybe it's going to be a large piece of land. I'm not suggesting that, but if it was that, maybe it's a place where people could come and get to nature, get to know themselves, to seek the inner peace and the white light. Maybe they could learn to milk a cow metaphysically. I think that might be the answer. However you milk a cow metaphysically, but to understand nature and to understand the four seasons. And so at this point, let us take just a few moments now, let's say 3 minutes to 4 minutes, to let your mind wander, but circle with. Take one specific service, a very simple one, that you did yesterday or that you did this morning, or maybe one you're going to do tomorrow, and circle with it. Think for just a moment all of the things that have happened because you did that service. Simply being aware of these will allow you to pick and choose of how much time, of how much energy, of how much of your God's creation you will spend in each category as you go through life. So lean back now, take a deep breath, pick out a specific service that you've done. Make it a simple one so it's not difficult to trace. And for the next 4 or 5 minutes, think of all the rewards that you claimed because you worked yesterday, because you vacuumed the house yesterday, because you played golf yesterday, because you went fishing. You see, each one is a service. Just relax now. Circle with your thoughts. Become totally aware of those rewards that you received from the task that you performed. Let us take a deep breath now and just exhale slowly, and once more circle with me for the next few moments as we come to the conclusion of this tape number 3. Be totally aware of your thoughts about any service that you render throughout the day. And if you don't like the boss, you don't like the job, you don't like some area in your life, we can only offer 2 solutions. Be aware of this. Through your mental training, through your awareness of your rewards, you'll find out either solution is equally as easy to accomplish. You may either learn to enjoy the work or the task that you're doing, or quit it and get into another task and another job. And once more I say, maybe it's easier to learn to enjoy it, to be that person who carries the positive thinking, the cheerfulness, the high, the action person to the job each morning and to the task, which will automatically begin making the rewards come on the positive side. Now again, this technique will do you absolutely no good. Understand me. Understand, it will do no good until you do something about it in the physical dimension. You can create it, you can think about it, but until you actually do it in the physical dimension, till you insert it into your personal day's activities, till you become aware, you have not accomplished the aha, the enlightenment. So again, get the notebook, and let me lay it out once more. Take a simple task. Write down services rendered, and then make a column of 20 rewards over here. You're going to have that many, even from a simple little service. From the simple one of going to the post office, you'll be amazed at how many rewards come from just that 10 or 20 minute drive down to the post office. So lay it out, any simple task. Do this for 10, 15, 20 days. You see, this concept last year in December changed my concept of life. As I was going through day-to-day routine, a little complacency had set in. My weight had set in at about 245. My abundance had set in at a certain figure. My travel, my thinking. Then I opened awareness to how I was collecting those rewards. And people, the brain-mind functioning is one unit. And all of a sudden, the cruise, a beautiful concept of teaching of alpha awareness came through. When I opened my awareness to my rewards, the concept of this tape program came through. And out of complacency, we begin to record the tapes. My abundance has improved. My health has improved. My weight is diminishing. It seems with no effort. Because now we've got the rewards in proper perspective, in proper dimension, to happen in perfect harmony, in divine right action. Now we'll make a mistake now and then, but being aware of that self-talk and learning to circle, you'll become totally aware and pick and choose your destiny and your life. From this moment on, choose your rewards. And let me say that I thank you for letting me give you this service today, because you see, cutting this tape is a service. I got to spend several hours learning to know and understand the beautiful man, Tom Reed, who is helping me with the recording. I stayed at a beautiful club in Spokane. Those are all rewards. I get to fly back over the wheat fields of the state of Washington this afternoon as I fly into Seattle. Those are rewards. It's happening here. From this tape, there'll be many rewards. There'll be new friends, new letters, and abundance and happiness. It's a long list, and we pick and choose how much of each we want to use. My friends, nearly every one of you are already giving a great deal of service. Every moment of your life. Why not expand this awareness to use the law your Creator has given you, and start claiming as your reward those things that will give you the most happiness, the most peace of mind, the greatest success in life. They are yours for the claiming. Thank you, and may all of your rewards be great, be blessed, be delicious, be divine right action. And may I add sincerely, God bless you, Vero Minto.